Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What up, folks? Full house today. It's been a minute since I've had a full house. I am very excited. For you guys who don't know what you're watching, which I feel like you should, welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the news edition. I have some because I want to vent, y'all. So let's first let me introduce myself. My name is PK Trinidad, and I am not alone. She is one of the kind of main hosts of those wrestling girls, excuse me. Please welcome Patricia Rogers.
Hi. Thanks for having me, girl.
No problem. And she is one of the contributors for Women's Wrestling Talk. She's also the founder of the Culture Commentator. Please welcome Drian Santana.
Yay, you got it right. We practiced this.
I really had to look at the paper too. Like, girl, don't mess this up. This is anxiety playing tricks on me for real. So speaking of anxiety, I'm debating if we should lead with this topic or if we should talk about everything else and come back to it. And I think that's what we're gonna do, because I feel like if we start with this topic, we're not gonna get off of it. And
yeah.
I want to give everybody, everybody else their shine as far as who we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. A lot of wrestling, a lot of women's wrestling, which is going on, which I absolutely love. So first, shout out to NWA 73 and Empower. That's happening this weekend. So make sure you guys tune in to our network, Fight TV. So tune in there. And then myself and Stephanie Hardy, we're going to be down there. So make sure to check out our social media and all that good stuff. So shout out to them. So I had to, give props. Now we're going to jump into NXT. So here's my question. And I asked everybody this question. I feel like how WWE treats NXT UK versus NXT, it's like it's the redheaded stepchild. It's like, oh yeah, they exist, but they kind of don't exist. Like they're stuck in the attic. So Kaylee Ray, who's had an amazing career on NXT UK, has made her debut on NXT. And so she's gunning for the women's championship position. My thing is, it just feels like it's a step up, but it should be like equal. So like, are you guys on the same board as far as thought process, or is it just me?
You want to go first, Patricia?
No, you could go first, because I agree with you, TK.
I do feel like it should be equal. You would think it would be equal, although I know they're in like a different country, with UK, but I wouldn't think that it would be such a significance to make it seem like she's being promoted to the main roster for NXT. I would think that it would be equal. I'm sad that Dakota did not win, because that's who I was rooting for. I'm glad I didn't bet no money, but I feel like Kaylee Ray, she has had an amazing run in NXT UK. And I'm ready to see, how she does with, I guess, the American NXT. I don't know how they doing this over here, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am too. And it sucks because NXT UK, there's such great wrestling on there, and there's so many good stars on there. You would think they would keep it on that same level. So maybe I would want to tune in Thursdays at 2:00 in the afternoon, whatever the time difference is. Yep. But but WWE doesn't make me feel like I need to do that. So I'm always just like, okay, I'll catch it. But Kaylee Ray, she's awesome. And I do wish Dakota Kai won, only because she just lost and she's on this momentum. Mm-hmm. But I think both ladies definitely showed they are the future stars of the brand.
Yeah, I wonder, I didn't want to bring up her name because, again, it's going to go into a thing. But, I feel like some people on NXT will get the Bianca treatment. They're deserving of the championship. Everybody knows they're deserving of the championship. And everybody knows that eventually they're going to go to the main roster. But, they're not going to get it. So I don't know if WWE is, playing with us or whatever. But also another thing to take in consideration with, being from a different country is that there's visa issues. So I'm wondering if that's the reason why, but I don't think it should be the reason why they just shouldn't announce it. I would love to get with NXT, during NXT, just a breakdown of what happened on UK. Hey, by the way, and you don't want to, like, you know, some stuff that's going to make you want to get at least tune into that particular match. So because I've tuned into a lot of Kaylee Ray's matches because I saw it on Twitter. Like, people were talking about it on Twitter. It's like, oh, let me go and see this match because I heard it was bomb. So I mean, obviously none of us are working for WWE, so I would love for them to just tell us, but I feel like they're almost like you've seen the Wizard of Oz, and have you guys seen Loki?
It's literally the sort of the same.
Yeah. I feel like there's I mean, the puppet master is obviously Vince McMahon or somebody else, we don't know. I'm just, you know, you never know. And they just enjoy messing with our emotions.
Yeah.
Like that they just get pleasure out of that.
I feel like slowly but surely everything's gonna lead back to SummerSlam.
I feel like everything is gonna lead back to SummerSlam.
Oh boy. Well, we'll get into it. But let's talk about AEW. So September 5th, AEW is going to have All Out, which, you know, I'm really excited about. Of course, we had CM Punk, who pretty much broke the internet in all ways, shapes, and forms last week. But, you know, we're here to talk about the women. So they're bringing back the second Battle Royale. And Dr. Britt Baker is going to be going up against Chris Statlander at All Out. So for the Battle Royale, here's who's going to be in it. So you have Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Red Velvet, Ty Conti, Big Swole, like, we'll get into that too. Penelope Ford, Julia Hart, and Diamante. So these are the women that are going to be participating. So first off, who do you think because the winner of the Battle Royale is going to go up against whoever is holding the belt at that time. So who do you think should take it all?
I feel like it could either be between Thunder Rosa and it could be Nyla. It depends on if they want to have a repeat of her because she won last year. So they're really pushing Thunder Rosa right now. They're really pushing her. Yeah. Ty Conti, a little bit. We seen a little interaction between her and the Bunny. I want Red Velvet. I do. But she's a little sloppy in the ring a little bit. She still has a lot of work that needs to be done from that move she did the other night. I know we have mishaps, but that
was if
it might jump me. But I'm just saying, you know, I'm here for my black women wrestlers, but I have to call you out on what the mistake you have done because somebody else gonna do it anyway. But I know that she can correct it. I know that, you know, they've now been pushing, you know, Red Velvet as well, right. So she could have an opportunity too.
Well, I'm surprised that unless she's having another match at All In, Jade's not in the mix.
Yeah, and I definitely would have went for Jade. Jade would have been my number one pick because I love Jade. I wish she was in this because automatically I wouldn't care who else on there. Jade Cargo, right. That's my girl.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think that she's gonna have a match, like a repeat match with? We can actually get into that right now. The match with her and Kiera Hogan, like what was that?
It looked very squashed.
The way I felt about squash matches, everything's gonna go back. But I would have rooted for Jada if she was in this match as well, because I think it could have been like a good showing for her to even if she sort of squashed everyone in this match, I think it would have been a good showing for her to then move on to the championship.
Right.
But the thing with like you were saying with Red Velvet is I would have rooted for her, but what frustrates me is that she's missed that move so many times. So that's when I'm like, girl, like it's hard for me to root for you. It's like, okay, now you need to lock yourself into whatever training facility you guys have and get a thing and practice that move and the spacing and the whatever you guys, you know, whatever you need to do. I would have rooted for her. But I think Thunder Rosa would be the most needle pushing winner, in my opinion, for that Battle Royale.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Thunder Rosa. She's been on the show like 3 or 4. She has an amazing story. If you guys don't know her, then you guys have been under a rock. But I definitely agree. But I kind of almost feel like, actually no, because we've been seeing Thunder Rosa so long, but she was signed with NWA. Now she's signed to AEW. So now I actually don't mind because now we can see her at her full capacity. Like I feel like there were times last year where Thunder Rosa could have got the belt, but she couldn't because of contract issues, whatever. So now there's that opportunity, and maybe even seeing a match between her and Britt Baker because they had an amazing match a couple of months ago. With that being said, I just feel like I don't want the repeat of like the Charlotte and Becky Lynch thing or the Sasha Banks and Bailey thing where we just see it over and over again. However, you know, Charlotte's what, 111th time champion. So, you know, there's a big difference. So I don't mind Thunder Rosa, but I also want to see, I believe that, you know, Big Swole was sick for a bit, but I also want to see a push with her because she's done amazing work. And I feel like we rarely get to see her on network. We see her a lot on YouTube, and it's just kind of like, well, how come she's not getting love? Like, what's happening? Let us in what the secret is. So, you know, I would love to see that because I think she would be amazing just even running for the belt. And now we have somebody different as well because Thunder Rosa can carry a storyline without, you know, aiming for the championship. So, you know, I think, you know, we'll see. I don't know if there is. Let us know in the chat if the Jade does have a match scheduled for All In or what the deal is with that. But hopefully it's not a squash match. But do you guys think it's a squash match based off of Jade's skills? Because we already know Kiera Hogan can bring it.
Right.
But Kiera Hogan's been in the game for at least longer than Jade. Like, Kiera, she's done, you know, on top of Impact, she's been on the indie scene for a minute. So do you think it's just more of a, you know, okay, well, we know you can do all of this, but we're now just pushing Jade because, you know, looks wise, she has that Storm vibe with her now, especially with, I think there's like a Storm movie coming out in 2022 or something. So it's just kind of like, is that what the case was?
It seems like it. It seems like it because I know a lot of people look at Jade as still being green in the ring and whatnot. She does great with her promos. You know, when she comes out, I mean, she looks good. Like she definitely makes you stop and look at her. You know, because of her statue, she has that look. Her promos, I feel like she can be a little bit better in the ring. And once she gets better in the ring and it kind of fits with her character, I feel as if she could eventually hold that women's title, you know, and be a dominant force, you know, but having her go against Kiera Hogan, who is more experienced than her, it didn't do much for Kiera with that being her debut, you know, it didn't do much for her. And that's crazy to me because, you know, I know a lot of people, they think like, okay, they do debuts, they supposed to win their matches or whatever, but to see Kiera lose in a debut match, it's like, well, okay, well, what's next with Kiera Hogan? What are we going to do with her? You know, because having her lose, did it benefit Jade or did it crush the momentum that was being, you know, anticipated for Kiera Hogan's debut?
Or at least give her like more than a few seconds. Like they could have just had a great match.
It was very short.
She could have still lost. That would have been fine. But at least she got to showcase her skills. Like, I mean, think of Bad Bunny. Like the match that he had. He had a whole, was it like 19 minutes or something crazy like that? Like, you mean Kiera can't get 5 minutes? She can't get 4 minutes? Like, for real? Like,
it was very short. I was like, dang, it's over already.
Yeah, and I also like just felt bad for Kiera Hogan because I feel like you can just feel it like that she's on this like new career trajectory, and she's like, all right, I'm in AEW, I'm facing Jade Carter, and then like, you know, like it's a squash match, and like you said, like it could have, like Jade could have won in a dominating way because Kiera Hogan is so good at what she does. Like it could have worked. So I'm just hoping that hopefully that starts, you know, the beginning of something with them, but you know, we'll see.
Black Fist says all Jay's matches be quicker than Jason's whole fight.
The timing sucks.
I'm screaming.
It's man, let's I don't know. I feel like this week they was just, doing us black women kind of weird this week, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now this it's kind of like, I feel like wrestling is, and I know a lot of people have said it's like the ultimate soap opera. When anybody retires, like, they really like, I mean, I feel like Jazz says she's retiring, but is she though?
She's still around.
So I know she's on her what's it called, her retirement tour at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like
She's never.
I mean, I'm just saying. But another person like this is Madison Rain. So she returned back. So she retired from Impact this year, like a couple months ago, and then she returned to have a match against Taylor Wilde for Emergence. So I mean, she's been in the game forever. Great wrestler. She also has a show. I mean, it's just kind of like, do you feel like? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. It's because like Jay-Z retired and then he just decided he wasn't gonna retire. So like come out of retirement. So do you feel like wrestlers should announce their retirement, or they should just, just I think there was like a few basketball players that they just said they were done and just never came back. Like I don't want the all the stuff like that comes with their retirement, especially when you have such a lengthy career. So what do you guys think?
I think that's hard to. I think fans are so used to people retiring and coming back that we enjoy the pageantry of like if they do retire and whatever that last match is, and looking for it. Like the whole CM Punk moment was like, it was so magical to me because I truly bet money that would never happen. I was like, CM Punk is done with wrestling. That's never gonna happen. But then it gave us this beautiful moment because I really thought he was retired. So I don't know. I think people change. I don't know. Wrestling's like it never ends. Like even as a fan, it never ends.
But the thing with CM Punk though is that when he retired, AEW wasn't around. So I think if AEW didn't become what it is, we wouldn't see CM Punk. Now the question with that, you're just hopping on AEW because AJ Lee did tweet when I think she was in the building when he showed up. Do you think that she's going to be coming back?
That I would live for. I don't think so.
That would be interesting. I think Britt Baker kind of called her out a little bit too. So I mean, and I think AJ responded with a wink. So you never know what's going on in her little twisted mind. She may pop up out of nowhere. Who knows? I would not be upset about it. Because I think she has talked about wanting to make a comeback in wrestling, but she just hasn't said when.
Right.
So I mean, if she does pop up in AEW, it wouldn't be no surprise to me. It wouldn't be.
I would love to see it because CM Punk has been quiet, but he was doing little things here and there. I think he was like on Kevin Hart's like Cold as Balls show. Like he's done certain things, so you kind of see him. AJ Lee has been, other than I think she had like
writing books.
That's like,
it.
You ain't she's like almost like the Beyonce wrestling. Like I ain't saying nothing. You ain't hear nothing from me. You ain't even seeing me.
Until I
like,
pop up.
I'm gonna announce this pregnancy right when I'm about to have the baby. Nothing more, nothing less. So definitely shout to Madison Rain, but also Taylor Wilde. She was retired for a long period of time, and she came back to Impact as well. So I don't know. Maybe it's the love of the craft.
Yeah.
Like I know sometimes, I don't know if you guys feel like this. Like you just get, it's just like too much wrestling, and then you're like, I'm not watching wrestling for 2 weeks, a month. I've been off of wrestling sometimes for like 2-3 months, where it's just like, this is I can't. And then when I come back, it's just like, okay, now I'm ready. Like I can do all this. Just, maybe it's like that where they're like, this is a lot. Because CM Punk made reference to it. He was like sick. So now he allowed his body to heal mentally and physically. Now you're ready to take on the world. So
I think it's exciting too. You had mentioned before, like with CM Punk, AEW didn't exist when he retired the first time, and now he got inspired again and wanted to join. And it could be the same with the women in Impact, where it's like I kind of hung up the boots, but things are exciting and things are happening now. I kind of want to be a part of it. I think that's even more exciting for like us fans. It's like, okay, well, if you're excited to come back, because then I'm excited to watch because there's so many things going on.
Yeah,
I
and
just
there's
think
so
that
much
is.
things. What are you gonna say?
I just think that it's good that I look at when they say they're going to retire as a mental break for them doing something that they've been doing for so many years. This is all that they know, and their character is all that they know. So for those who come out, that's why I appreciate Sasha Banks, although she disappeared on us again. I appreciate her because when she wants to go on this mental break, the girl go. She disappear. You don't know nothing. When I say you don't know anything, you don't know. You don't know anything. You don't know what she got up her sleeve, when she decides she want to come back, or anything like that. And when she comes back, you can tell that she's in a different mindset, a different spirit. So I appreciate those wrestlers who, although they say they're going on retirement or whatever, and then they come back. I just look at it as like a mental break for them to just heal, like you said, heal mentally, physically, and spiritually, and reconnect with who they really are instead of the character that they're so used to hearing since the beginning of their career.
Yeah. And we also remember that WWE, they don't take breaks. So
No.
it's just kind of like they're like, oh, what, Christmas? Oh no, forget your kids. You're gonna
Right.
be like, what's that? And then even then on the indie scene, if you look at somebody like Chelsea Green, she waited her 45 days and now she's like on 3 or 4 different promotions. Like it's just kind of like, it's almost like you don't have necessarily the WWE schedule, but if you schedule yourself, I don't know, it's not even properly, if you just schedule yourself and you have a name like Chelsea Green or whoever, you're going to be working almost just as much. So, and too much of anything is, you need a break from. So, definitely kudos to Sasha Banks for, she's like, you know what, I'm going to go and do this movie, but she also is in that position where she can do that.
Yeah.
If you're new in your career, or if you're like, in on the mid card, like I wish you would go to WWE and say, hey, I need a break. We just see as a society what we do to people who say they need a break. Look at Naomi. Like, you have so many people that it's now a thing that we discuss, but now we discuss it. It's like, well, you don't need a break because you're making all this money. It's like, no, we're all human. But
we all need a break from work too. It's just like our everyday life. We all may work all day every week doing the same thing over and over again, and we get to the point where we want a break too, so we go on vacation. It's the same thing with the wrestlers. They deserve a break. They deserve to be able to have a chance to heal their wounds that they can't heal the next day. Mentally prepare themselves to, like, okay, I just need to connect with myself again and realize who I am again, and then boom, I'm gonna go back out and I'm gonna be whatever character. I'm gonna become like a face or a heel, whatever. So, you just can't be rushing these folks like that.
I just wish they would tell us when it's a break, because it's like sometimes you'll have people who get injured and you're like, bro, because like, I'm sure we all know. So the rest was like, yo, you good, or you like,
you were injured?
Yeah, is this real life, or is this what? Like, I need to know how to place my emotions right now. Like, should I care, or are you like on the beach somewhere? Like, I wish they would just say, like, whoever is on a vacation, like, it's okay. WWE, I think we as fans will understand that they could take a vacation versus them just like disappearing and they were hurt, but we don't really know if they were hurt or not. Like, it's
and then rumors start spreading around.
I was just gonna say, and that's how all that dirt sheet and all that like toxicity happens, because people start making their, wrestling Twitter creates their own narratives and they believe them, and it goes viral, and it's just like more toxic. But I think it's good because we, like you said, us fans will understand. Like, okay, great, you're taking a break. Like, I think about how refreshed Sasha came back, and this is probably like, I think the best leg of her career was since she came back a couple years ago after that hiatus. Like, you could see it all over her face. She's like refreshed, she's well rested, she's inspired again. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, it just, it's okay, but I think that WWE just likes messing with us. Last but not least, before our big topic, so MLW has been starting like a women's division, and somebody that we're really familiar with, Nicole Savoy, she's been signed on for that division. Oh, there we go. So like, do you think we have so many brands now? Like, I can't.
It's a lot. I've
It's a
never
lot.
seen that many, heard of that many before. I'm like, where are y'all coming from? Y'all coming to like them crates in the crate challenge. Y'all just popping up everywhere. So
But yeah, it's I am actually really, because MLW on the men's side had some really great storylines. So I'm really interested to see. I mean, I don't know what the right word, see, maybe read about the matches and stuff like that. But I guess the more jobs, the better. Like, if everybody can work, and the end all be all is not WWE, because WWE is not made for everybody. You know, so it's like the end all be all. You could still do something that you love, and still make and this is all you do, versus you do this plus you do some other things. Like, that's always great. It's always great to make money at something that you love, versus you do this on the weekends, and now like you're literally, I don't know, a hostess somewhere. No shade to hostess, but I'm sure you want to be wrestling all the time.
you really
So
would.
yeah, so shout out to Nicole Savoy for that. And I mean, we'll see. There's so many promotions. It's crazy. So let's get into it. SummerSlam.
Oh, praise the
Yeah,
Lord.
and I was like, I realized that there's definitely one topic that I obviously want to talk about, but I realized, just looking over the women's card for SummerSlam, it was all BS. So except for one made sense. We knew this was gonna happen. So we'll talk about this one first. So we had Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie, and then Dewdrop. She finally turned on Eva Marie, and we kind of knew that was going to happen. So I think in agreement, everybody was like okay with that. It's like, okay, like we can.
All right. It's a cute
that
opening.
Right. Like I agree. Like it was I can work with that. The next one, I don't know. I made reference to it. So we had Charlotte, we had Nikki Cross, and we had, oh my god, I just lost track of her name.
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley. I'm like looking at her face, and I'm like, so what do you guys think of this match?
Honestly, I thought it. Honestly, it was not a bad match. It really was. I mean, we seen these three in a match together, and it wasn't bad. And this one was no different. I was really thinking that they was going to still let Nikki retain, but they pulled the plug on the little butterfly girl and said, you know what, we're gonna send you back to Comic-Con, and we're gonna go with the Queen Charlotte Flair, because we can't have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know. See, a lot of now some people were cheering for her. Then you had some people like boo, because a lot of people just was over it, didn't understand the gimmick, didn't understand why she decided she wanted to come out as a superhero. I guess she's gonna join the Hurricane, and Molly Holly, they may have put her up to this, although this was her idea herself. Honestly, I'm not mad that Charlotte won, because I feel like the Raw Women's Champion has not really had that much relevancy in a very, very long time. Since Becky had lost it, which I know we're gonna get to her in a minute. So I'm gonna hold her, put her in his corner. We're gonna wait, because I got a lot to say about her. But for her to drop it, and then Asuka has it, Asuka title reign, which is, it wasn't her fault. It was creative. It was not much she could really do. And then Rhea coming in, winning it. It didn't really. Her title reign was not the best. So I mean, the only other person you can think about putting it on right now to bring some type of relevancy back to that champion is Charlotte, and hopefully it opened up more doors, like it is for Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, which I'm kind of interested. I just want to see how it's gonna play around, because I know they had some type of storyline saying that maybe Alexa was gonna abduct Charlotte, and Charlotte's gonna become Lily, and I'm like, okay. Who isn't creative right now? We need to have a talk. Step outside right quick. Excuse me.
I mean, can you think of when Charlotte wasn't Charlotte? You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
can we? can we give Charlotte? Well, I'll let you talk, Patricia. Then I'll because I have a lot to say about Charlotte and Becky.
I hate to say going into this match, I didn't care, which makes me so sad because
Mm-hmm.
that's the worst thing you could do in wrestling is just not give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I curse, but like, so going into it, I was just like, okay, like you said, Drew, it was a decent match. The three of them, how could you kind of not have a decent match? But it didn't like give me any feelings about it. I think Nikki Cross, I am happy that she was champion simply because creating a character on your own and having the company love it and then for them to
Mm-hmm.
give you the championship is like a victory within itself because you think of so many
Mhm.
people that got released and who pitch ideas and they never get heard. So I'm like, you know what, good for you, Nikki Cross. You actually did something that a lot of people can't do in WWE, so that's great.
Right.
Your character will go down in history because Vince loves it. So when
Mm-hmm.
they go back in the history books, they're going to give Nikki ASH some shine, and not everyone
Right.
can say that. So I do wish they would have, like, she would have retained her first pay-per-view championship match and then maybe dropping it to Charlotte a little later. But
Mhm.
I'm just so glad to see Rhea away from Charlotte and Nikki away from Charlotte at this moment. And if that means, like you said, I agree. Charlotte does like, and now I'm paying attention to the Raw Women's Championship, and I wasn't before, and I do care. So I guess that's a thing. As far as Alexa being next, I was hoping it was someone like new and fresh, but you know what? Alexa hasn't been in the championship picture for a long time, so I'm here for that. I hope it ain't no Charlotte and Lily shit, but
I wanted Shayna. Like I want Shayna
Shayna.
and Nia. I love Shayna and Nia. I know they have a great, tag team, whatever, but it's time for them to break away, or at least Shayna deserves an opportunity at this title to get
Mm-hmm.
put into the title picture because her on the main roster, it just has not been great. She dominated everybody in the elimination chamber just lose every week.
Right.
And then I'm sorry. What bothers me also about this whole Shayna Baszler thing is that, like, I don't think she should care about Nia Jax. Like, I don't think she should care. I don't think she should be emotionally invested into that tag team. It just goes
Mm-hmm.
against that badass character in her. Like, this is the same Shayna that like bit Becky Lynch. This is the same
Mhm.
Shayna that supposedly like, the elimination chamber thing. That's the same Shayna that cares about having a tag team partner. Like, it just doesn't like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, we need to
Right.
now build up Shayna to be that monster so that when she does approach Charlotte, it's like, oh, like, this is gonna be something kind of thing.
Right.
Mhm.
I think there should be a reality show, and this reality show should be of like the writers. And they can show it almost like when the Kardashians show, like we knew everything that was going on in the Kardashians, but they did a reality show, but it was like a year and a half, 2 years after the drama happened, but we still watched it.
Mhm.
I think we need there needs to be a reality show for the writers where it's like we can 2 years from now we can be in the room as they're discussing what's happening in SummerSlam, so we could be like, oh, okay, now I don't hate you as much.
Right.
Because
Yes.
it's just like exactly what you were saying with Charlotte. It's like, yeah, I agree. Now, Charlotte has bring more prestige to the title, but the problem why she's the best one is because they haven't cultivated everybody else.
Mhm.
So it's like Nikki ASH is just kind of like, okay, she had something going. Why not cultivate that? Because we saw when she came from NXT and then it was just like, it fell flat. Same thing with
Mhm.
Shayna. It's just like, yes, I agree. We have to try different things and see what sticks. But it's like they try one thing and then they sit them on. If it doesn't work, now they're sitting on the bench for like 6 months until either something presents itself or the wrestler gets frustrated and shoots off ideas all the time or something happens organically. But I feel like we're not really developing the women's talent, so we always defer back to Charlotte. And so for me,
Mhm.
it's just like, okay, this is great. When I saw it, I was just like, okay, Charlotte again. This is what we're doing, and Charlotte, the same Charlotte. And mind you, there's two things that are happening. It's like she's that great where she doesn't need a gimmick. She could just be Charlotte. But how awesome would it be if like Alexa Bliss does clean up her and now she's a different version of Charlotte? Something that we've never seen before. Like the Bailey that we see of now. Nobody thought that Bailey was going to be able to pull it off. We
Mhm.
all wanted it, but nobody thought she was going to be able to pull it off. And now she's pulling it off. We're like, all right, we love this. So it's just kind of like, I would love to see that with Charlotte, but like we already know that she's gonna be like, 127th champion by the time she retires. We already know that's gonna happen. So like, not taking that away, but it would be nice to just see other women getting pushed.
But who
That's
would you
just,
push on the Raw side of women's?
I feel like Shayna Baszler would have been a good one coming off of NXT because she held the belt for so long. Like the push that they gave Bianca Belair was great. And not to say you're going to give the same type of push, but they could have gave that same push to Shayna Baszler. Although she probably would have needed an advocate. I feel like some wrestlers need more advocates than others. Like Nia Jax would be a great push, but she would need an advocate too. Like I feel like WWE needs to stop grabbing all these wrestlers who they're not going to use, and either one, get a bunch of managers who can talk, or two, tell these wrestlers like, look, like you're a good wrestler, but you can do this manager thing, and we think this might be the play for you. Just like how some wrestlers become refs. Like it's just kind of like, I think we might need to spread it out, because I don't negate, like look at MVP, like Bobby Lashley, like he is an Adonis. Like you can all look at him and know that he could beat the crap out of anybody. But the storylines up until MVP was just like, are we serious? We're talking about sisters now, and you're married to Lana. Like, this is what we're doing with all your hard work, like for real. So I feel like some wrestlers need that, and that will put the strap on their back. So if we have Nia Jax with somebody who's like a manager, who's like a Paul Heyman, that is an advocate for them and can talk that shit, like then anybody can go up against Charlotte Flair. But the problem is we're not investing that type of time in their stories. Like we can, and the good thing about Charlotte is you could say, all right, Charlotte, this is what we're gonna do, and we're all gonna go with it, because one, she's an amazing wrestler, so we don't have to take that away from her, but then she's also a Flair, so she has this prestige with her, period. So no matter what, it's like if shit goes awry, like you have that one friend, like no matter what, you can call them at 2:00 or 3:00 in the morning, like you in jail,
they always
like
ready.
That's that one friend, they always ready. Or like that boyfriend did something crazy and you call them and like, all right, let's go. Like that's Charlotte Flair. Like, all right, cool.
I'm so glad you said that too, because I feel like we don't, because she's so overexposed sometimes, we don't appreciate that about her. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. And she is dependable, she's reliable, she has a built-in character, and she's great. Her command on the mic, that way she deals with the crowd, like I don't know many wrestlers, period, that can do that. The way she deals with Becky Chance, like she's great.
She is.
So let's get into it, y'all.
Oh, Becky, not me, you brought her up, Lord.
So let me just preface this. After this match, so I like I said, I was at SummerSlam. Emily Taylor was there as well. And after this match, I think I stayed for half of another match, and I was like, F it, I'm out. Like I went upstairs first and took a moment. Then I came back downstairs and then watched like half a match, and I'm like, no, I'm over this shit. I'm out. So the match was supposed to be Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. So, everybody's excited. I was it's kind of like you rooting for your two sisters and you just don't know who to pick, but you kind of want to, go with the younger sister because, you want, the other one's already established. So, everything's going as we expected. And then they make the announcement that Sasha Banks is not going to make it. However, there were rumors that was it because of COVID? There were rumors, like a couple, I think Black Wrestling Alliance announced it along with some other publications, that it was either COVID or something that she wouldn't be there. So, or actually they both wouldn't be there. So now, they make the announcement that Sasha's not going to be there. And then we have Carmella, and we're like, okay, well, this is going to be a squash match. Cool. Like, this is what we wanted. Then Becky comes out. Now, before we go into our all being upset at the outcome, what was your feeling? Like, what was your feeling with her coming back? Because I remember there were rumors that she was going to come back. So I kind of expected it, because I was like, they're WrestleMania and a SummerSlam, they always have to come with something that nobody expected. They did that with the Ronda, etc. So first off, what was your feelings of her coming back? And then second off, that moment that in between moment where, you know, she's smiling at Bianca. Bianca, great actress, by the way, is giving that, like, you know, I'm happy, but I don't know, like, who am I really fighting? What was going in your head? Like, what was your storyline? Because I had a whole storyline that happened that didn't happen in my that happened in my head, but obviously didn't happen. So, what was y'all's reaction?
So I have this, like, I love Becky. Like, I love her. She is she's amazing. But I always have this love-hate relationship with her because of how they push her. So every time something goes wrong that someone doesn't like in the women's division, they're always like, oh, Becky needs to come and be and everything is great. And I'm like, okay, Becky Lynch ain't the savior and the be-all of everything of bad creative. So when she came back, I was happy because it was a surprise. I screamed my head off. I was at Legends with WWT. Shout out to them at their party. Me and Krista B, shout out to her, screaming. And then we all know Becky ain't about to lose, right? We're like, okay, she came back. She's not about to lose. Whatever. Right. Let's see this dream match between Bianca and Becky that we've never seen before. Let Bianca show out. We'll leave this in the champion. Then it ends up in a squash. Not even with Becky's best finisher. Not even the best way she's done that move. And then that's it. Now, Bianca Belair has been a champion, a fighting champion for months now. Like, she took the title off of Sasha Banks. She main evented WrestleMania with Sasha Banks. She stood toe-to-toe with Bayley. Like, you guys have built this champion. She's the EST. To have her lose in less than a minute to a returning Becky Lynch. And I can't help but think that Becky Lynch was not about to return. I do feel like all of this was like a reaction to CM Punk. Like, I really think, like, I don't think Brock was supposed to come back. I really feel like they were like, you know what? We had Becky coming back in a couple months, but you know what? Call her. Like, we need her to come back tonight. And that's what it felt like. And I just feel like that was so disrespectful to Bianca Belair and her title reign. Like, it gave me Kofi vibes, and I completely checked out of the rest of the pay-per-view. TK, I was like you. Like, if my friends weren't at the bar with me and I was by myself, I probably would have went home. Because I was
27 seconds. By the way,
like it was like you know how your adrenaline goes up and then something happens and it's like you almost can just like collapse and like that's why I was out of it. I was just like, I can't. I'm still upset. I'm still upset.
I guess for me, I was the same, Patricia. I was happy to see Becky. I was screaming in my room. I was like, oh, Becky is back. I was like, wow, this is gonna be great. I know Bianca has been wanting to, you know, face all of the 4 horsewomen. She's already beaten 2. The last people she got left is Becky, and then she's gonna go after Charlotte. Okay, boom. You know, her, you know, she knocked Carmella out the ring, boohoo, cry me a river. And then, you know, they stand toe to toe looking at each other, and I'm like, okay, Bianca, you got what you wanted. You about to face the man, and it did not go exactly how I thought it was gonna go. I literally stood there, you know, that little meme with that girl at the courtroom. She just stand there and look side. That was my face. I was like, wait a minute. I was trying to understand, what did I just witness? What did I watch? Why, like, I felt like the whole thing was a segment, because this is not a match. It doesn't count. In my mind, it don't count. She did not lose. That was a whole segment that y'all put together at the last minute. Because like you said, Becky was not supposed to return back until the draft. That's when Becky was supposed to come back. But I'm gonna read this to y'all because I saw this. This is what Bruce Pritchard said.
She doing receipts. All right,
this is what Bruce Pritchard said. He said, we definitely planned Becky Lynch's in-ring return the longest, but we didn't imagine a Sasha understudy would be needed this soon. If Lynch hadn't picked up the phone, and this may upset y'all, if Becky Lynch hadn't picked up the phone, their backup would have been Naomi. So, you mean to tell me, why Becky picked up the phone? That's what I'm mad about. I want to see Naomi now. Now I'm upset. Now you done made me even more upset, because we could have gotten Naomi and Bianca, and then Naomi could have went heel because Roman wanted her to join the bloodline anyway. This could have opened up a door for Naomi to be a heel, lose the glow, defeat Bianca, or the bloodline got all the titles. Boom. That's your new story over there on SmackDown.
Y'all don't understand. I've been talking about this, but look. I've been talking about this bloodline. I mean, I put myself in the picture. I've been talking about this bloodline for 3 years now. I'm like,
what are y'all doing?
I love it.
I'm gonna talk about this bloodline forever.
I want to be
At
a
least
part of
give her
bloodline.
something to do. Like,
Put me in the picture, TK, next time. Put me in the bloodline. I'll sit over there and I'll serve the plates or something.
I'll be next to Roman, as long as I'm next to Roman.
That part.
Put me next to the twins. That's where I'm at, in the middle.
I mean, we'll not talk about the Samoan attraction. But yeah, in my mind, I still had Bianca retaining. But I think it's just because, I think I've mentioned this quite a few times on the show. Like, you feel like you've seen this person is like, I don't know the equivalent to your child, but you've seen, like, I saw Bianca when she was doing CrossFit. So I knew of her before wrestling. And she was a standout then. Like, this chick she made it to the regionals and she was doing pull-ups with tutus on, and she had outfit changes for everything. Like, she was already a star before like wrestling even came. So when, like, I've been following her career since then. So for me, it's always gonna be like Bianca. So that was, one thing. But it's just like when I saw Becky come, I'm like, all right, I don't know how much truth is to Becky making that phone call, because sometimes reports are like, that's what it is, and then what it really is something else.
I think that article that someone like, that's a fake article. I think someone like photoshopped that or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel. I mean, I honestly did feel Becky was going to show up at SummerSlam. Like, I just had a feeling, because I just feel like every WWE likes to surprise us, and it's like they only could surprise us so much, especially with social media and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like, I do think CM Punk played a role in that, but they all got us. Like, think about it. If Bianca retained, Becky came out and challenged Bianca, like, everybody would have been okay with that. But it was in 27 seconds. Becky came out, and people like us are still talking about it with great displeasure 4 days later. Like, that's what they want.
They get off on
right? They get off on that. They're like, oh, they this is what they wanted. We're gonna do this just to fuck with you. Like, that's
exactly what they did. They really made me want to go up there and throw hands. Like, I was in a fight. But although these 4 days have passed, tomorrow I'm really excited about tomorrow, because I want to see what Miss Bianca gonna do. I know
that's how they got you.
That they did. That's how they got me. I'm like, okay, Bianca, like, what you gonna do now? Like, are you gonna give us that real EST from NXT? Is you gonna give us that, Bianca? Although Becky, she's a heel now, because that's how she's want to come back to be a heel.
Well, this is what the Wrestling Classic said. Who do you feel is going to be a heel, Becky or Bianca?
I feel like Becky is going to be the heel, but Bianca's going to give off heelish Bianca in NXT. She's going to give that tomorrow, because as of right now, she's been called a rookie. She's been trumbled by Sasha Banks even way before their match even happened, and she's still upset about that. And now she got Becky to be upset about coming in and taking her title and making her look embarrassed. Like, so now it's like, you know what? She done playing with y'all. She finna give you that Bianca from Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's not finna be what you want to see. Okay,
right.
That's all I can say.
It's just the disrespect was high. Was
very
high.
But they got us. We all
they did.
I normally don't. I tend to watch, because there's just so much of it. I watch my wrestling during the week in batches. So, like, I'll watch like Raw, Impact, AEW in one sitting. But now it's just like, I'm gonna at least sometime during that Friday, if it's not when it's live with it, I want to know what's gonna happen. And that's how they do it, because it's like they're feeding two people. They're feeding the wrestling universe, who, no matter what, I think Sarah the Rebel said it the best. It's like we're in an abusive relationship. Yeah. We get abused, and then we still come back every single time.
I'm gonna be there tomorrow.
Right, they give us something that we do like, and then we're like, okay, well,
he really does love me.
Okay, right, okay. He really does love me.
Okay, the WWE does love me, and the reason why I choose to come back tomorrow. But what I will say is that I have this storyline in my head, and I hope WWE hear this and they want to hire me, because obviously they need some type of spice, because it's not giving what they think it's going to give. But I would say that I've had plenty of discussion about this, but I was like, come tomorrow, what if Becky be like, you know what, Bianca, I'm not going to give you another rematch. Why? Because I beat you. What makes you think that you deserve to hold this title that I'm making relevant again? Because your reign wasn't so the best that you like to put it to be. So then, boom, think about
and
it.
I beat you in 27 seconds. You don't even
throw that
deserve.
in your face.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like Becky has no choice but to be a heel. You know what I mean? Like she should lean into that. Lean into the fact that I can come back. I relinquished the Raw title and I took the SmackDown title in 27 seconds because I can, which is
because I'm the man.
Right, which is true. So she should lean into that and let her be a heel. No one's gonna really boo Becky. Let's be real. I think that's how I think that's how it should go.
I don't know. I feel like the crowd might turn on Becky, and feed into that. I don't know.
It was
like
a mix there in the stadium. It was a very much of a mix. Like obviously everybody there was the pop, but then when it happened, it was a very mixed crowd of like half were like. I think there was a lot of people who were silent, and then half where there's some boos and half where there's some cheers. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I am a Becky fan, but again, if I had to choose between the two, then I'm
Bianca,
Bianca all day.
all day.
So
all day, every day. I feel like they should do a gauntlet match for the women.
Ooh, I love women's
Becky,
gauntlet matches.
I don't think Dodie's ever done one, but if Becky doesn't give Bianca, says, "Oh, Bianca
Classic has my heart." This is what I want to see.
Oh, Justin, whatever. So I say do a women's gauntlet match. If Becky says, "Oh, you need to earn this title shot," okay, boom. You throw in people who we haven't seen in a long time. We haven't seen Liv. We've only seen Toni Storm once. Throw in Carmella, maybe Zelina. And then put Bianca in there too. Let her be the first person to be out there for that gauntlet match and see how if she go through all of them, then she, deserve that title. And let the surprise person come out last, be like Naomi or something. Or maybe even Sasha Banks if she decides she want to pop up anywhere eventually. And then let's see how that goes. I would definitely want to see that.
I just hope that they do not, because they do this to a lot of wrestlers where they strap it, they strap it to their back. They're like the best thing since sliced bread. And, in our minds, we're like, okay, well, this is just, a bump in the road. They're going to get back because they're talented and all this other stuff. And they never, it's like they're a shell. Like, look at Asuka, like her NXT reign. And then she came for Charlotte to just
take defeat it,
right.
And I was upset about that.
Like, and I don't think that she ever got that like really Empress mystique since then. So it's just kind of like, and again, it all has to do with writing. So it's just one of those things where I think we can all, agree that we were all disappointed. But I think my biggest fear is that like she'll sit down on the bench and she'll never get back to like her potential, and or will she just be a one champion wrestler, which we've seen a lot of women that happen to a lot of women. I mean,
and that's the scary part.
Talk about Naomi all day. That's a whole nother. See, let's not even go there.
A docu-series.
It's definitely a docu-series for Naomi. Justice for Naomi. Justice for Bianca.
Justice for Brittany. We'll throw in Brittany there too.
And also, right. And then too, like I was just genuinely excited for Sasha Banks just because I love Sasha Banks. So I was just genuinely like ready for her music to hit. And then you guys like promoted her up until the very second. That was the other thing that was very like, so y'all did the whole promo and everything.
Yeah, because WWE likes abusing us because they know we will come back.
Okay.
They just had all the plans. They just had a plan.
The house. We'll just stay there and take the abuse every single time. and then give our money to Peacock on top of that.
Because I'm low key so excited for SmackDown tomorrow.
I'm very excited. I'm gonna be sitting front row and center watching it.
There it is. Well, I think that was therapy for us all. So tell everybody where they can find you guys.
You can find me on Instagram at right there, Santana Muse, and on Instagram at Drion. Well, no, Twitter. I'm saying Instagram. On Twitter, at Drion, which is my name spelled right there, Driune.
On Twitter, you can find, and Instagram, you can find me at Queen3_PR. And make sure you check out those wrestling girls everywhere. And more content with women's wrestling talk. So I'm really excited about doing more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a whole team, y'all. You don't even know this next couple months is going to be really, really good. I'm excited about it. So make sure you guys are tuning in every other Thursday. We're going to have news. If you're like, why is it every other Thursday? Because every other Wednesday we're on Fight TV. So make sure you follow us on all social media at WW Talk Pod on everything. Just kind of made it simple for you guys. Also check out our website. It's going to be updating with some merch. Super excited about that. So check out all that good stuff. It's going to be more faces, a lot of different faces. The really great thing I love about Women's Wrestling Talk is it's diverse, and we all come from different perspectives, and we all come from different parts of the world. It's just going to be amazing. So definitely tune in for all great things. I don't want to say who next week's guest is going to be because we're waiting. We'll do it like WWE does. So we'll wait till last minute. Other than that, you guys can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Thank you guys so much for joining. Till next time, guys. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
It's like with StreamYard, I always need to go and find the outro, and I never have it ready because this is how we do. Okay, now officially, goodbye.